So, hello and welcome back to another episode of the Turn 5 podcast with just me and Ben this week, where we'll be running you through the results of the Mexican City Grand Prix, because they changed the name of it this year. It's the Mexico City Grand Prix, not the Mexico Grand Prix. And also bringing you our predictions ahead of the Brazilian Sprint GP weekend. That's still the Sao Paulo Grand Prix as well, because we're all about cities now, apparently. The Mexican Grand Prix name change was due largely in part to the fact that the Mexico City council or government, or whatever they call it over there, put in a large amount of the funding rather than the central Mexican government. So they wanted the name change to reflect that. So, I mean, fair enough. You know, you put the money in, you get your bit out of it, right? So,
I expect F1 has a large amount.
I mean, yeah, but
Yeah.
so right. We are back to our usual Grand Prix format of 3 practice sessions, and given this late stage in the season, many teams took the opportunity to field some rookies in the cars, including McLaren, who popped in local Pato O'Ward from IndyCar. Haas put in Robert Schwartzman. Ferrari put in Ollie Behrman. And I can't think of any. Was that all of them?
It was Sauber who put in Schwartzman.
Oh, it was Sauber that put in Schwartzman. Did
Aston put in. Aston did not have one.
Oh, okay. My bad.
They would have done. They've done Behrman race, haven't they? So
true. Well, yeah, because he's joining next season.
yeah, Aston Martin had Felipe Drugovich.
Oh, Aston.
Mercedes have had Kimi Antonelli.
Oh, blimey, that was more honest.
Red Bull had Sergio Perez.
Yeah, he was the worst of the bunch. I mean, yeah, but Behrman in Charles Leclerc's Ferrari came a bit of a cropper.
Crash.
Yeah, we had some drama in FP1. About 20 minutes in, the sort of the fast sweepers section, I want to say it's like turn 8, 9, 10, somewhere around there.
It would be 9, 10.
Alex Albon was on a push lap. Behrman was trying to stay out of his way on the outside. Albon got a bit of a slap of oversteer and ended up clonking into the side of Behrman, sending Albon into the barriers and damaging Behrman's car, well, Leclerc's car, enough that he couldn't get back to the pits. So that was the end of FP1 for both of them. It was the end of FP2 for Alex Albon as well, pretty much, because I don't think he came out at all in FP2.
He did not.
So, yeah, limited running for Albon after getting like 4 laps in FP1. But still, he had a decent weekend, to be fair. Bummy. So, well, he was having a decent weekend.
Well,
until
the race.
Until the race, yeah. His qualifying was good, considering the amount of limited running he had.
Yeah.
Popped it in 9th, which, again, we've said before, is sort of where you expect Albon to put the car these days. But, yeah, then an unfortunate incident on the run down into turn 1, which, I mean, we see it more often than not at Mexico. It's just, honestly, I don't put the blame on anyone in that situation. There was just enough of a gap that Yuki could squeeze down the outside. Pierre is on the inside of Albon, obviously doesn't know that Tsunoda's there, gone for a very ambitious move. Has then tried to move across and squeeze Albon to the outside. Albon in the middle has nowhere to go. Contact is made, and Tsunoda is sent out. Yes. That is something I've commented on before with these new lower profile wheels, that the tyres do eject themselves from them quite easily in these situations. But oh well, nobody got hurt. The catch fencing did its job. Tech Pro and Arm Pro did its job. Sonoda was fine. Albon limped to a stop slightly further around the track because his front left suspension was completely gone. And that was the end of Albon's weekend. And Sonoda's weekend.
Yeah.
So, which was a bitter blow for RB in terms of their championship standings, because both of the rivals in Haas, both of their cars qualified in the top 10, and both of them ended up finishing in the top 10 as well. So, not ideal for RB, who fall to 7th in the standings. 10 points now behind Haas.
Nice.
Yeah. We did get a bit of a shock in qualifying. Valtteri Bottas, in an absolute tractor of a Sauber, got out of Q1 at the expense of both Sergio Perez and Oscar Piastri. What on earth happened there?
I didn't realise that. I was on a night out at the time.
I was
all I
at
seen
work.
was Perez. Perez was out, and I was like, "Oh, that's fucking brilliant."
And then you saw the message 2 minutes later. Oscar 2.
Yeah, they are.
The high comes crashing down.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the bottom 5 were Zhou Guanyu, which, honestly, at this point, that's the given. I don't think he's qualified anything other than like 20th or 19th in the last like 8 races.
No. The whole calendar year.
Esteban Ocon in 19th, which is a bit of a shock considering Pierre Gasly got into the top 10 in the same car. But then Sergio Perez and Oscar Piastri, 18th and 17th respectively, and Franco Colapinto in 16th. So he was, how far off was he? Looks like about a 10th and a half off Lance Stroll's time in Q1. Q2 eliminations, as we said, Valtteri Bottas made it through, but he couldn't make it any further than 15th. Lance Stroll and Fernando Alonso were 14th and 13th respectively. This being Fernando Alonso's 400th Grand Prix weekend. Jesus. That's a lot of Grand Prix. When you think that we've had maybe we had the F1000 a couple of years ago, so we're probably at maybe 1,200 Grand Prix total.
When was that, 2020 season?
Yeah, it was in China, so
It must be 1,100-ish.
So Alonso's raced in like a third of every Grand Prix in history.
Maybe.
That's pretty wild. Liam Lawson in 12th and Yuki Tsunoda in 11th, with running of Q2 brought to a premature halt as Yuki Tsunoda found the barriers on the entrance to the stadium section, which is unfortunate for both him and his teammate, as it meant that both Hasses got through and neither RB car had a chance at improving, because I believe Liam Lawson was actually on an improvement that lap. So, gutting. Your top 10 in qualifying: Hulkenberg at the back, Albon in 9th, Gasly in 8th, Magnussen in 7th. Of those that made it into the top 10, I'd say that's what you'd expect in those positions.
Yeah, it's very track dependent and who can set their perfect time.
It was pretty close, to be honest. Like, okay, Nico was a bit off the pace in Q3, setting a slower time than his Q2 time. He set a 17.3. Albon set a 17.0. But then Gasly set a 16.892. And Magnussen set a 16.886. So that was pretty tight. Lewis in 6th on a 16.6. George in 5th on a 16.3. Leclerc set a 16.265. Norris pipped him with a 16.260. And then Max Verstappen in 2nd on a 16.1. And Carlos Sainz, the only man in the 15s, set a 15.946.
Yeah.
And chucked it on pole.
What a lap.
2nd week in a row. Wait, is it? No.
It's not.
2nd week in a row we've had a Ferrari on pole. Wait, no, it was just a double 1-2. I'm being so dumb.
Last week,
I've woken up.
Pole.
Lando was on pole. Max was saying it was a Ferrari 3-4 that became a Ferrari 1-2. Yes, no. Carlos set. I think both of his lap times were good enough for pole, weren't they?
I have no idea.
I think they were.
I was pissed out of my mind.
Brilliant. I am just going to double check that. Yeah, both of his laps were good enough for pole. His first lap time was a 16.0. So, Carlos Sainz dominance at Mexico. Start of the race, naturally the run down to turn 1 was, as you'd expect, a bit argy-bargy. Max throwing one down the inside of Carlos taking to the escape road because once again Max leaves no room. The maneuver that would come back to bite him in the arse later. Then what else happened? It was all sort of Perez gained 5 positions at the start. Was then given a penalty for being too far forward out of his grid box. Womp womp. He was only given a 5-second, luckily for him. And then we got to lap.
Over the radio saying, "I don't think I was."
Yeah, mate.
Seemed like, yeah, copy.
They've clearly seen you. Then we get to the talking point of the weekend. Well, the 2 talking points of the weekend, as it was 2 incidents. Was it lap 8 or 9? I think 8, maybe.
Yeah, because it must have been 8, I reckon, because it's a safety car.
Yeah, there was a safety car for a few laps. Somewhere between laps 8 and 10. Lando throws a move around the outside of turn 4 on Max Verstappen. And Max Verstappen very predictably eases off the brake pedal and shoves Lando off the circuit to make sure that he is ahead at the apex. But I don't actually think he managed it this time.
He wasn't.
Which is why I think he got the penalty.
Yeah.
And then naturally bitched over the radio about it. And then just to really cement it on the run down into, I think it's turn 8.
7.
Is it? Oh yeah, it is 7. Okay. On the run down into turn 7, just decides to throw the shittest dive bomb I've ever seen. This comes from the man who complained in Austria about Lando Norris's overtaking technique of he just throws dive bombs. So chat shit, get banged. He didn't make the corner. He forced Lando off the circuit, and he received a 10-second time penalty for each incident.
Nice.
I'm amazed. I'm amazed by 2 things. I'm amazed at 1, the FIA actually gave him a penalty. And 2, I'm amazed at how fucking awful that dive bomb into 7 was.
Yeah.
And I think Brundle was probably the most shocked out of anyone on that, to be honest.
Yeah, he was. Max in a way is sort of kind of lucky he only got 10 seconds for it.
Yeah. That
It is fucking mental.
that could have been a drive-through.
Because he's not like
He's not made any attempt to make the corner.
no.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
but he got Summit at least, which is progression.
yeah. They're in. Speaking of, the FIA and the GPDA met, as they do before every Grand Prix, but this time they raised questions surrounding Lando's penalty in Austin and the request for clarification on the guidelines. So there will be a meeting between the FIA and the GPDA ahead of the Qatar Grand Prix weekend with updated versions of the guidelines.
Just fucking do it now.
I know, but these things take time to do. It doesn't. It just takes the addition of the clause that you removed from the 2022 version of the document in the 2024 version. So basically, the only thing they need to add in is that both cars need to stay within track limits.
Yeah.
Because there was a reference to the 2022 document that states that when the overtaking car is on the outside, the driver of the car on the inside must stay within track limits.
Must leave racing room.
Yeah. So
how difficult can it be?
Well, very for Max, because I think he thinks racing room indicates like 68 miles wide of turn 4 at Brazil, so we could see that one again.
But then at least he doesn't track extend in Bahrain.
Yeah, yeah. Look, I'm glad that we're dealing with this now, because I think
you should have dealt with it 3 fucking years ago.
Okay, look, I'm glad that we're dealing with it in terms of a written rules update now, because after Austin, it essentially highlighted that he knew how the rules worked and that the rules were wrong, and that he could therefore manipulate the rules in a way that would put him at an advantage over the driver he's defending from.
Yeah.
By doing this, or by showing that route that he was taking, it highlighted a gap, and it means that now by dealing with it, other drivers cannot take advantage of that rule set, which would set a dangerous precedent for the quality of racing.
Every car on the outside just getting fucked off.
Yeah, exactly. And we'd end up in a situation like the NASCAR cars going around COTA. Have you seen those clips?
Yeah.
Where they're just like 6 miles wide at turn 19. Yeah. We'd end up with that, which is not what we want.
Turn 1. They're fucking mile. They're nearly by the gravel.
So, yeah. But we will have to wait and see what comes of that. I believe it will be a simple change in terms of just...
Nothing simple in Max Verstappen in a car.
No, true, but by
pure aggression and
by changing
racing,
the rules, he will have to
it.
change the way he races.
As much as I fucking hate the way he races, I'd miss it.
He will have to adjust the way he races. He can still shove the other driver off. He just has to make sure that he can still make the corner now.
You got to have a villain, and it's brilliant.
So,
as much as I despise him, and he's ruining my driver's championship challenge, fucking quality.
The gap closes by 10 points after this weekend. So,
yeah, he's got to gain 12 points every weekend now.
When you say it like that, it sounds kind of doable. It's only 12
Yeah,
points.
there is sprint races, but it depends on Red Bull's pace because Max is always gonna out qualify the car in some mental ass fashion.
Hmm. Like the Red Bull was not quick in Mexico this year, which was a bit of a
And yeah, he
shock.
put it on the front row.
Yeah. So it's gonna be interesting. Max on 362 points, Lando on 315. And that's
We
not the
really
biggest.
need
That's arguably not the biggest fight we've got at the minute.
no.
The constructors has rapidly turned on its head. With Ferrari entering the fray after back-to-back 1-2s, and with Charles Leclerc even picking up the fastest lap this weekend.
A 1-2 and then a 1-3.
Oh yeah, 1-3. Yeah, they were on course for 1-2s, but yeah. Charles had a bit of a wobble. What a save, by the way.
Yeah. So I was waiting for that to twat into the barrier.
Yeah, same. Like I missed it live because I was at work when that happened, and I was just on the app with the timings, and when I closed it once, it was Ferrari, Lando Norris 8 seconds behind. I was like, okay, fine. He's closing. He's not closing that much. It's probably going to be another 1-2 and Lando Norris third. Reasonable. Max is in 6th. I'll take it. Then I open it back up when I had a minute, and I see Sainz, Norris, Leclerc. When the hell did this happen?
We have to Frank. I think it's Colapinto held up Leclerc a bit.
Oh, really?
Ooh. And it made Lando get within 1-1, 1-2.
Right.
It was him or Lawson. I think him or Lawson was one of. Probably. But there was definitely a back marker who held up.
Blue flags!
Yeah. Held up Leclerc a bit.
Michael, he costs us the race.
It made Lando go from 2 seconds behind to 1.2 or something.
Damn.
And he's just. Yeah.
I suppose that's what happens if you catch someone at the wrong point.
Yep.
But you can't change that. But yes, the constructors. McLaren are still in the lead with 566 points, but Ferrari have jumped into second on 537. And Red Bull aren't too far away. They're on 512. But given the form of their second driver, I don't think they're going to be improving that anytime soon. Goes to show you cannot win a Constructors' Championship with one driver.
Not this year.
No, yeah, quite. Oscar had a good recovery drive. He got up into, I think it was 6th. No, 7th. 8th. There we go.
So,
4 points. It's decent. There weren't. I know Lando last year went from the back of the grid to 4th, but Lando had the mitigating circumstance of there was a red flag that helped him. So have to bear that in mind. Have to bear that in mind that he didn't get that.
For crying out loud.
Honestly. I mean, you'd like him to, but that would have been good. Just get Oscar in front of Verstappen and get Oscar to defend like Verstappen.
Yeah. It'd be interesting to see how Max treated Piastri if he got up to him. You've seen the way Piastri treated Colapinto. He fucking
be gone.
Yeah, he nearly fucking crashed into him, but he did.
It'd be funny if Oscar was just like, "Don't need you here. Be gone anyways. Just get out of my way." Yeah. Oops! I took out the world champion. My bad. So, anyway, right. Predictions. Big week this. With 2 sets of identical pairs, means we have 2 sets of identical results. In first place, was Chris and Sonia with 6 points for correctly putting Norris and Leclerc in second and third on the podium. In third place, therefore, is me and you on 2 points for putting Norris and Leclerc in the wrong places on the podium. And Nia got 0, naturally.
Well.
Bold predictions. Ben, RB are not ahead of Haas in the constructors. We still have to wait for Chris's because he put the contingency of before Sao Paulo, so we still have to wait.
It's wrong. No one cares.
So
Perez is racing next.
He said Perez is getting sacked by Red Bull. It hasn't happened yet, so I'm just going to say no for now, and we'll probably leave it that way.
Even if he does.
Yeah. I said he'd announce his retirement, and he didn't. Bastard. And Nia said a Perez...
If he retired from the race, then that would have been so funny.
Yeah.
It's just like...
I'm stopping the car.
Yeah.
That counts! That counts! Yeah. I never said what kind of retirement. And Nia said Perez would get a perfect weekend, and that was out the window after FP1.
Very odd from her.
I know. It's actually bold. Lapdown showdown. In a way, Chris was the closest and therefore wins because he was the only person that said 1 lap down, and it was 1 lap down. And he also had the closest to the lap count. Now, I'd need a microscope to be able to actually check, but it was either lap 44 or 45. But Perez came into the pits as he got lapped. So I do not know if he was before or after the timing line. And it was Perez that was lapped first at his home Grand Prix.
Christ.
Top banter.
F1's a brutal sport.
So, Perez position predictions. Everyone got it wrong this week. There are no winners. I was the closest of qualifying.
We are all the winners of this Perez disaster class.
I was the closest to qualifying. I said he'd qualify 12th, but he actually qualified 18th. And in a way, Ben, you and Chris were closest with the race result where you said he'd DNF, but he finished 17th.
He should have retired.
Yeah, he was the last of the running cars.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was.
As
close as to
by Liam Lawson.
LOL. That's a way to endear yourself to the Red Bull.
Yeah.
Oh well. The prediction championship standings. We have some movement.
Oh, God, Sonia's gonna... shit.
Nia is now last on 62 points. And Chris jumps into 4th on 63. I have dropped to 3rd and I'm on 79 points. Ben has dropped to 2nd on 83 points. And Sonia leads the way on countback with 83 points.
It's been manipulated, man.
Mate, she got a 17-point weekend. Can't beat that. Can't beat that.
She should be promoted to the fucking Champions League. This shite.
Right. That leaves us with predictions for this weekend. Naturally, Chris and Nia haven't actually sent in anything because they're really helpful like that. So we'll pencil in some if we can be bothered to think of them. Because I'm struggling for my own bold prediction, to be honest. Actually, no, I'm not. Right. Sprint winner. Who are we going for?
Lando.
Okay. I have said Carlos Sainz. Pole position.
I'm going to say... Russell.
Mm. I have gone for Leclerc. Podium.
I will say Norris. Norris. Russell Piastri.
Norris, Russell, Piastri.
God, why have I done this?
I have gone for Leclerc, Norris, Sainz.
No.
I'm predicting that Ferrari will maintain their form.
No, 2 weeks on the trot. Come on.
I know.
Ferrari. Do Ferrari things.
Yeah, I'm waiting for the Ferrari things. I'm hoping I can like manipulate it.
Mercedes always go well around Brazil, no matter how shit their car is. It's like they build their car for Brazil and Brazil only.
Mm. Oh, I got Chris's predictions in. Okay, so Chris has said that Leclerc will win the sprint. That Leclerc will get pole. And oh no, Chris has gone for the same podium as me.
Championship fights back on, baby.
Leclerc, Norris, Sainz. You say that, and me and Chris are gonna fucking stormwalk this weekend.
Yeah, Chris is the jinx.
Hey, Chris
got last week right.
Chris,
so how's he gonna get this week right?
Oh, I don't know. Looking back through, he was second that week. Last, second.
So you're second or last.
Well, he didn't put in predictions that week. He won that week. Last. He second that week. Oh no, third that week. Last. Oh no. Last. Second. Won that week. Second. Third. No. Last. Oh god. Last. Oh dear. Could be interesting.
Either second or last.
Mm. He did win a couple.
Yeah, when it was fucking mental properly, Mercedes done well.
I can't be asked to go back and look at the results that he won, but that doesn't sound too bad. Right. Bold.
Oh, I said that RB would overtake Haas last week, didn't I?
Mm-hmm.
I sort of jinxed RB. So, I could say rain. Rain for the race. It's gonna piss it down. Full wets.
Okay, I'm holding you to full wets.
Yeah.
Inters are not rain.
Rain's a bit of a cop out, isn't it? So say full
Especially
wets.
around Brazil.
If they red flag it because of rain, that still fucking counts.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm not having. They didn't race.
No, if it causes a red flag, that as far as I'm concerned, that's 2 points.
Or red flag.
I'll give you 2 points if they red flag it for rain.
Oopsie. Actually, no, that's rude. I was going to say Oopsie Verstappen in the wall. Save it, but.
Well, I mean, he can be in the wall and just tap it. He doesn't have to twat it.
No, his car can get waterlogged.
Okay. Electronic
Actually,
issues.
That probably isn't safer. Actually, it's just getting electrocuted in the car.
Chris has said that Norris and Max will tangle again.
Chris and Max.
Norris and Max, I said.
Chris said Chris and Max.
I said Chris said Norris and Max.
I just said Chris and Max.
Yeah, Chris is now a McLaren driver.
Right.
And I have said that Verstappen does turn 4 again.
Nice. That's a good one. That's a very good one.
So we'll see how that one goes down. Lap down showdown.
Here comes Hamilton. Just fucking shoving Verstappen off. In their battle for P5.
God. Lap down showdown now. Who have you got?
I'll say Perez.
On what lap?
On lap 42.
42.
Actually,
okay.
no, 46 actually. So he's better performance than last week.
Okay, 46.
Slightly quicker.
How many laps down?
1.
Chris has said Zhou on lap 30 to finish 1 lap down. I have said Zhou on lap 37 for 1 lap down. And that brings us to...
Hey Sergio, welcome to Red Bull.
Perez position predictions, bumper edition, sprint qualifying. Ben, where?
12th.
12th. Chris has said 9th, and I am going to say 15th. The sprint. Chris has said 10th.
So he's starting 12th. He's finishing 8th. He's getting 1 point.
Okay. I'm going to say he finishes 11th. Quali. I'm going to go for 12th.
Oh, I thought you said Wally.
No, I said quali. Brother, go and get your ears checked.
We're shitting on Perez. That's a bit mean.
Ah, yes, of all the language and insults,
Wally.
of all the language and insults we've used on this podcast, Wally is the one that is too mean.
I speak the Queen's English. He's a Wally.
Right, I've said 12th for quali.
Quali, I'd say 10th.
And Chris has said 8th. And for the race result?
Well, he's got to be like 18th, hasn't he? He's getting lapped.
Okay, yeah, fair. Chris has said he's going to start and finish in 8th. I say he's going to be involved in an incident and he's going to go backwards and he's going to end up 15th.
Yeah, Liam Lawson's at it again.
Yup. So, right. That about wraps us up for this week's episode of the Turn 5 podcast. Join us again next week where we'll be going over all of our action from the Brazil Grand Prix weekend. The Sao Paulo Grand Prix weekend, I should say. And therefore, and that's all we'll be covering next week as we approach the end of this triple header. So thank you for listening and or watching. And until next time, goodbye.